हेलो फ्रेंड्स, वेलकम टू माय चैनल हैंडमेड क्राफ्ट सोनाली। तो फ्रेंड्स, आज मैं आपको साथ शेयर करने वाली हूँ क्लास 10 इंग्लिश में फर्स्ट फ्लाइट बुक का चैप्टर 1 लेटर टू गॉड के हम क्वेश्चंस देंगे। साथ में ये समरी नोट्स मैं आपको प्रोवाइड कर दे रही हूँ। इस चैप्टर को पहले तो लिखा है G.L. फ्यूंटीज़ ने, और ये आप देख सकते हैं समरी इसका। और यहाँ से हमारा कॉम्प्रिहेंशन चेक चालू होता है। फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन है, वाई डिड लेंचो होप फॉर? लेंचो वॉज अ फार्मर, इसका आंसर है लेंचो वॉज ए फार्मर। द ओनली थिंग ही डिज़ायर्ड एंड प्रेड फॉर वर शावर्स फॉर हिज फील्ड और राइप क्रॉप्स so that it could harvest well. If the showers did not come, the crop would die and it would lead to a big loss. Second question, why did Lencho say the raindrops were like new coins? Lencho had planted corn crops that were ready to be harvested. The crop still requires some rain to provide a proper harvest. Since his profit depended on the rains, he called the raindrops new coins. Also, he represented big drops as 10 cents and smaller ones as 5s. Third question, how did rain change what happened to Lencho's field? The season welcomed good rains and Lencho was certain he would get a good harvest this time. But the rain soon turned into storms and were accompanied by winds and hailstorms. The harsh weather destroyed his crops completely. Fourth question, what was Lencho's feeling when the hail stopped? Answer, Lencho had to see the ripe harvest destroyed in front of his eyes because of hailstorm. His soul was filled with sadness at the sight of his damaged crops. The lack of harvest means shortage of food and money, which would make survival difficult for the family. All he could see was a dark, gloomy future ahead. Oral comprehension check 2. First question, who or what did Lencho have faith in? What did he do? Answer, amidst the adversity, Lencho in he still had faith in God. He believed that God from the heaven above had seen him suffering and would ease his pain. His faith was so strong that he wrote a letter to God stating that he wanted 100 pesos to cultivate a new crop again, as the previous crop was destroyed by the hailstorm. Second question, who read the letter? The postmaster read the letter since the letter had an address that was too absurd. Third question, what did the postmaster do then? Answer, when the postmaster first saw the address, he laughed at the stupidity the sender did. But after that he thought it may simply something serious, and hence out of curiosity checked the letter. After going through the letters, the feeling of the writer really touched him and he decided to help the writer somehow. For this, the postmaster contributed a part of his salary and collected some money from his acquaintances, friends and relatives, and sent it to the writer of the letter, Lencho. Oral comprehension check 3. Question number first है, was Lencho surprised to find a letter for him with money in it? Lencho had blind faith in God and he was sure God would address his problem. He was not surprised to find the letter with money in it. Second question, what made him angry? After he received the letter, he started counting the money that God sent him. On counting, he found out that he had received only 70 pesos. Since he demanded 100 pesos and did not receive the exact amount, he was furious. But he trusted God and knew God would not turn him down. So he concluded that the post office employee stole his money. Thinking about the text. तो इसका फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन है हमारा, who does Lencho have complete faith in? What sentences in the story tell you this? Answer है, Lencho had blind faith and trust in God. He knew he would address and find a solution to all his problems. The following sentences from the story tells us about the same. First, but in the hearts of all who lived in that solitary house in the middle of the valley, there was a single hope, help from God. Second, all through the night, Lencho thought only of his one hope, the help of God, whose eyes, as he had been instructed, see everything, even what is deep in one's conscience. See, God, he wrote, if you don't help me, my family and I will go hungry this year. Fourth, God could not have made a mistake, nor he have denied Lenchos what he had requested. Fifth, he wrote to God on the envelope, put the letter inside, and still troubled went to town. It said, God, of the money that I asked for only 70 pesos reached me, send me the rest since I need it very much. Why does the postmaster send money to Lencho? Why does he sign the letter God? Answer. Humans always had faith in God and then rely on Him for their problems. But Lencho's faith was beyond anyone else. He wrote a letter to God and demanded money from Him as if asking a friend for financial assistance. Since the postmaster was touched by Lencho's letter to God, he wanted Lencho to maintain the faith he had in the Almighty. Hence, he sent him 70 pesos and signed the letter as God. Third question. Did Lencho try to find out who had sent the money to him? Why or why not? Answer. No, Lencho had trust and faith in God. When he received the letter, he was so sure that it was sent by the God that he did not even bother to find out who actually sent the amount to him. He was so sure about it that he even went to the post office to fight with the postmaster about the amount being less than 100 pesos because he knew God will not leave his wish partially unfulfilled. Fourth question. Who does Lencho think taken the rest of the money? What is the irony of this situation? Remember, the irony of this situation is an unexpected aspect of it. An ironic situation is a strange or amusing because it is the opposite of what is expected. इसका आंसर है Lencho blames the postmaster for stealing money from his envelopes that was sent by God. Since he received 30 pesos less than asked, the irony of the situation was that it was not God who actually sent him the amount, but the postmaster himself, whom he was accusing of crime. Question. Are there people like Lencho in real world? What kind of a person would you say he is? You may select appropriate words from the box to answer the questions. ये words हैं. Humans as a civilization have always worshipped or looked upon a greater power for assistance during challenging times. But Lencho's faith was beyond comprehension. I do not think people like him exist in the world who would actually write a letter to God and demand him for money. He was very naive and unquestioning in his reasoning by displaying such blind faith in God. ये हमारा last question है. There are two kinds of conflict in this story, between humans and nature and between humans themselves. How are these conflicts illustrated? इसका आंसर है the conflict between humans and nature is shown by the destruction of Lencho's crops by the hailstorm. As the crops failed by hail, Lencho started feeling and gloomy after the storm appropriately projects the conflict of the nature and man. The story also shows another conflict between humans themselves. The postmaster, along with the help of the other post office employees, sent Lencho the money that they could manage to collect. They were not related to Lencho in any manner. It was an act of kindness and selflessness on their part. Even though they did a good deed, Lencho blamed them for taking away some amount of money. This shows that man does not have faith in his fellow humans, thereby giving rise to these conflicts. तो यहाँ पर ये चैप्टर ख़त्म होता है फ्रेंड्स. आई होप आपको ये मेरा वीडियो अच्छा लगा होगा. प्लीज़ मेरे ऐसे वीडियो के लिए चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करिए कि आगे मैं और ऐसे चैप्टर के और अलग अलग सब्जेक्ट के क्वेश्चन आंसर वीडियो लाने वाली हूँ. तो इसके लिए आप ज़रूर सब्सक्राइब करके रखिए कि आपको मेरी नोटिफिकेशन मिल जाए. और तब तक के लिए बाय बाय. और आपको और किस टाइप के वीडियोज़ देखना है मुझे कमेंट में ज़रूर बताइएगा. Bye.